retired Marine Corps Major General Arnold Punaro. General, good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us. In a situation like this, where you have a downed jet and a missing crew member behind enemy lines, what would be happening right now? And why would he not have been located at this point?
Well, Tom, a privilege to be with you. And on this Holy Saturday, our prayers are joined with the incredible efforts underway by combat search and rescue teams that have been working 24/7 to rescue our downed pilot. And I know Admiral Cooper, the combatant commander in the region, is pulling out all the stops. We go to extraordinary lengths here. That's what's happening in the DNA of our military. We never leave a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine behind on the battlefield. And these rescue teams, and I guarantee you there's a lot going on that we don't know about publicly, take great risk of to their own personal to bring these pilots back. So that's what's going on, and they're not going to stop until there's a resolution of the issue. I would say if the most unfortunate thing happens and the pilot becomes a prisoner of war, then Iran better adhere to the laws of armed conflicts and the Geneva Conventions or face the gravest of consequences. But don't mistake, our military is doing everything humanly possible to rescue our pilot.
General, the president has given Iran a deadline to make a deal, but if a deal is not reached, he has made a bold threat to target civilian infrastructure. Watch this.
If during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously.
General, I saw what happens firsthand in Iraq when civil infrastructure is destroyed, regardless of who destroys it. In Iraq, we had looting, we had other issues that compounded the problem, but it does create chaos among the general population. Would that be a wise strategy here, or a significant risk that could play into the regime's favor?
Well, Tom, you understand this from personal experience, and I would say, as you mentioned, we are only beginning 6 weeks into a campaign where we have military targets that we've been working against, and I'll list them here in a second. Iran has built up these military capabilities over 40 years, and so we need to continue to prosecute the military objectives, focusing on reducing their factories that build weapons, knocking out their missiles, their launchers, their drones, reducing their ability to export terrorism, as they are the world's greatest at that. And also the most important thing that we need to keep focused on, and we can never allow, as the president has said, Iran to have the ability to build a nuclear weapon. They don't need a ballistic missile. They would have a crude nuclear device. They'd launch it in lower Manhattan and kill millions of Americans. And so we can't afford to let it happen. So I believe our military continues to focus on those military targets, which is the right way to continue to degrade Iran. They're the worst at basically using those kind of capabilities, and they want to reduce and put Israel and America out of business.
General, thousands of Marines are now in the region. What role could they play as part of an endgame strategy, or what comes next here?
Well, it's very difficult when you have the Ayatollahs and you have the Republican Guards and the Kurds, all the forces that they have. And unfortunately, they are the kind of people, and that's why I say they would use a nuclear weapon against the United States of America, that kill their own citizens. And so I would just say candidly, we should keep the focus on what our military is doing in reducing their capabilities. I believe that, no matter who of the Ayatollahs in charge, they're all cut from the same cloth. And none of them are going to be the kind of people that the nations that believe in freedom are going to be able to work with. So we need to totally reduce any of their capabilities they have to go against the United States and our allies and partners.
Yeah, and what do you think those several thousand Marines that have been sent to the region, what do you think their role may end up being here?
Well, the 31st Marine Expeditionary Force, the 82nd Airborne, these are forces that are really kicking the door forces. They're not invasion forces. They're not occupying forces. They could go in and seize a piece of key terrain. They could go in and take a an objective and hold it for a brief period of time while follow-on forces occur. So I think it's very prudent for Admiral Cooper to have those kind of capabilities. You know, as you know, military operations are very unpredictable. I mean, look, if you know, you might need them to go in if we found our downed pilot and we have to basically get a secure perimeter to rescue that. You could send in these forces very quickly to hold that terrain while we rescue our pilot. So they have tremendous capability, these forces, but these are light infantry. The 31st MU is a reinforced rifle battalion, but they're very capable, but they have very limited ability to go in and invade or ground occupation, which I don't believe is in the cards from the Commander-in-Chief or Admiral Cooper.
Finally for you, sir, the Strait of Hormuz still temporarily closed. For the most part, the president says the strait will open by itself once this war winds down. Can the strait be opened without military intervention and without Iranian blackmail, or will we need to actively engage to keep it open?
Look, Iran has controlled the Strait of Hormuz before, during, and after this current military operation. They've used that as a weapon against the free world off and on over the years. And so let's hope that as the military works against what we call the Mission Essential Task List, they've got some capability there to basically not have that be the ultimate outcome. But let's keep this in perspective. You know, they've had the ability to basically control the straits for a long time, and certainly, you know, we'll have to see how that plays out.
Marine Corps Major General Arnold Punaro, I would also add, a Purple Heart recipient. Thank you for your service to the country, sir. Appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.